What's going on, Longmont? Welcome back to the Don't Act Different Now podcast. This is episode 4. My name is Carter. I'm going to be your host tonight. I'm filling in for King Penny. I'm going to start to my right. Just open up with your name and your background and what you're currently doing right now.
All right, my name's Israel Alejandre. I'm a hardwood floorer based out of here in Boulder County, and that's basically what I do. Sand,
Awesome.
refinish, hardwood floors.
How about you?
I am a preschool teacher for kids with special needs.
Very cool. And what's your name?
Oh, sorry, Bridget.
Well, welcome, Bridget. How about you, sir?
My name's Ryan. I am a podcaster. I'm with the Shakedown, and we talk about the criminal justice system and what can be done to improve it and explain to people how it actually works.
Excellent. Well, it seems like we're all currently at least living anyways, maybe not from, but currently in Boulder County and the Longmont area. Just want to kind of take a little survey of the room. What's everyone's favorite restaurant here? Or even what you think is the most overrated? Anyone? You want to start, Israel?
Yeah, I'll start. On favorite restaurant? Man, I like to eat, man. So there's quite a few of them. Honestly, bro, like there's a little taco truck on Second and Main. It's called Tacos Chihuahua, and honestly, bro, I think those are the best tacos in town, bro.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Food trucks, all right.
Yeah, I like that spot a lot.
How about most overrated?
Most overrated has to be Buffalo Wild Wings, bro.
Buffalo Wild Wings. I was going to say, if you said Pump House, I'm going to have to disagree with you. How about you, Bridget?
Well, I've been looking for a good taco truck, so I'm gonna check that out for sure. Favorite restaurant here in Longmont? Well, I haven't been here that long, but I go to the Pump House a lot.
You go to Pump House?
But yeah, they got good cider, and their burgers are pretty good.
Do you go for the beer or for the burgers?
The beer.
There you go. How about you, Ryan?
My favorite is the Roost. That's honestly, any of the restaurants owned by the people who own the Roost, they're awesome. But the Roost has like the craziest menu. And that's where I take everyone when they come out to visit. And then the most overrated though is Rosalie's right across the street though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I always felt like the Roost is a little bit overpriced for what it's that they generally offer.
Yeah, but you're not going to be able to find like tachos or I don't know, like now I can't even remember the name of that Canadian fry dish or salads or steak or whatever, like, because it's just like a random, and all of it, like, really it's all good. Yeah, it's kind of on the pricey side, but you're going to get something good every time, and there's just nowhere else in town that you can get something like that though.
So what about what I'm hearing a lot of like good for entrees, but what about desserts?
That'd be Scrumptious. I'm always going to go with that. I don't care what restaurant it is, I'm going to go to Scrumptious and get ice cream over there.
Scrumptious?
Yeah.
Well, I also hear that there's a Crumble Cookies that just opened up on the west side of town.
That's good stuff.
I mean, it's a chain restaurant, right? And you want to have something that's like local to the town to have like a little bit of pride within your community. But, it's hard to beat 800 calories and 3 bites.
Yeah.
And probably, I don't know, 100 grams of sugar. It's ridiculous. I feel like I'm a diabetic when I walk out of there. So it's been, dating is always something that has been a conversation that is as old as time. Is it, when you are meeting someone new, a red flag or a green flag if they could speak positively about an ex? And can any of you speak positively about an ex partner that was in your life?
I mean, for me personally, it's not like showing a flag of any sorts, but like, I mean, I can speak good about my ex because, at one point I was in a committed relationship with him. So it's like, how am I going to talk down on somebody I was with and shared good memories with and stuff like that? So.
Well, they could have wasted your time.
I mean, they could have, but, I was with her for like 3 years, so.
3 years ago, didn't work out?
It didn't work out. I mean, shit happens, but I can speak positively about my ex, and
Mm-hmm.
like, she's a good person, and, I hope, she does good in life.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't talk bad about her, have any bad, like, intentions towards her, like, you know what I mean? Like, I hope everything goes good for her.
So is it a matter of just the qualities of what she showed as a person, or did she actually teach you something valuable or show you a different perspective?
I mean, when I was with her, bro, like, you know, I was like 16. I was with her for 3 years, bro.
Mhm.
So she was with me when I was like turning into like a young adult.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So I was like, I was going through changes, bro. You know, like meeting new people and stuff, and like trying out new things and experiences and shit. So I mean, like, she stuck with me through like kind of like a growing phase, and that's pretty cool, you know, like. So
Were y'all the same age?
nah, she's a little older than me.
A little older.
She's probably like 2 years older than me.
Showed you the ropes a little bit?
A little bit.
Wow.
How about you, Bridget?
I was just gonna say that takes a lot of patience. You 16, her being 18, and like
Yeah,
with you
it's a
through
huge
that like
difference.
growing phase.
Especially if,
Like,
did y'all meet before you were 16?
Nah, I think she was a senior, and I was a sophomore.
So you already had the driver's license, she didn't have to drive you around?
Nah, she was a senior. I was a sophomore, so
Mhm.
she was kind of the one with the car and stuff like that.
Oh,
Mhm.
man.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, but it still worked out, bro. So,
Yeah.
Right? You met in high school, so it's kind of the same. Not
No, I-
100%, but
I feel like the high school period of someone's life, they can either like find their like significant other that they're gonna be with the rest of their life, or they meet like the one person that kind of just crushes them for a little bit.
yeah.
So for you, when did y'all break up?
We broke up. It was like, damn, I don't know, like 2-3 years ago maybe. But yeah, I mean, I was in a relationship prior to her. So
Oh my goodness.
yeah, but this was like kind of like how do I explain? Like when we broke up,
Different.
it was just
A little more
different, bro.
serious.
A little more serious,
Yeah.
you know.
A lot of
Like,
feelings.
But I mean, it was kind of my fault a little bit. You know what I mean?
Oh man, you can't always blame yourself.
I
I always learned it goes both ways whenever a relationship doesn't work out.
It's just I was kind of a dirtbag, bro. Like I was like,
That'll do
I
it.
was going
At least you
out.
can own it.
I mean, I was going
Kind of
out.
a 16-year-old boy.
yeah.
But I mean, I wasn't
Fair.
16 when we broke up. I think it was like 18. I was like 18 when we broke up.
Mhm.
But I was just like wilding out, bro, partying, like meeting other chicks and stuff like that. So it's like,
Oh.
yeah.
So
I mean, that's kind of the age to do it, though.
I mean,
Is it?
yeah.
Kind of.
I don't know. Whenever it comes to me, when I think about that, the idea of like cheating or trying to like see other people, or just being scandalous in that way, it never crossed my mind even at that age.
Hmm.
So I guess it kind of depends on whether or not you gotta get that out of your system, because nobody's perfect. Everyone has something that they gotta kind of work through over time as they mature. But so how about you, Ryan?
So yeah, my ex was like, honestly, she had a lot of great qualities. I always thought she had a lot of wisdom, and we always had a lot of fun together. And I told her all of that, even through like all of the stuff we went through, and the main thing, like at one point we had talked about getting back together, but honestly, it just too many challenges in between us were not going to allow us to get back together. And that's not a blame thing, but it's just that was not going to happen. That wasn't going to work out. So it's no hard feelings on that. And it's also like you're asking, is it a red flag or green flag? It's never. No one ever looks good talking ill, like smack talking other people, especially when you're just getting to know them. It doesn't work out well.
What if to the contrary of that though, what if they are speaking positively about an ex regarding something or some sort of topic that you don't necessarily stack up to on them?
Yeah, when it gets into, like where you have some anxiety or something like that, I could definitely see that being an issue. And it's, to me, that's something where that comes to like your relationship with that person. Like you have to talk, like that's something you have to talk out, and you have to be like, understand you're not the ex. And I could talk about all these wonderful ways that were wonderful with my ex too. I can also go through and list 100 ways that we nearly killed each other. So it's just a matter of it, understand there's a reason she's the ex, and and I'm with someone else right now. It's like it's a different. You got to look at it that way. So.
But can someone who is asked about that actually be truly honest whenever when they say that, to avoid potentially offending you or making you insecure?
I think it still comes down to like that level of trust, having that level of trust and intimacy with that person, and being able to be open and speak with candidly.
How about you, Bridget?
So your question about green flags and red flags, I'm gonna say that I usually have a period where I talk smack. Like, that's just how I have to get through it.
How
But-
long does that usually take?
Oh, depends on how long we were together.
Mm.
The longer we were together, the longer it takes for me to get over it. But I think that, for me personally, and I think for, a general rule, like, if you're in that spot where you're, like, still not cool with what happened and, you haven't gotten over it, like, you shouldn't be dating. Like, not really a green flag or a red flag, but it's like, to be self-aware enough to know, like, if you're gonna be talking smack, or if you're like, yeah, I don't like that guy, you probably shouldn't be talking to other guys, because, like, you're just gonna bring him up a lot, and other guys are gonna be like, ugh, like, I don't wanna hear about your ex, like, we're here together. So I feel like if you're in that spot, for me, when you're talking smack, you gotta just chill, and then wait till you're ready, and then get back out there.
Can anyone actually truly get over an ex? Because the one way to view it is that the one thing that you can't get back from a relationship that didn't work out is time.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
can anyone actually really truly get past that and being able to move forward? Because the other thing too, the flip side of that coin is, no relationship with a different person is ever the same as it was previously. Because
Yeah.
every single couple and each individual out there is a one of one.
Right.
So how can you kind of keep that lid down and be like, I don't like what this person did, and we didn't work out, but now I need to be looking towards the future and looking at the positive with whichever person is that you're currently talking to?
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's hard for me, because, like, I'm at a point where I'm like, I'd rather just be by myself than try to be with a guy and pretend that I'm in a place where I'm not. Like, I hope, like, I was with this guy for, like, a really long time, and I felt like it was a waste, and, like, oh my God, I put in all this time, and for what? Like, we're not together. And, like, it took me a long time to get over that. But once I put myself back out there, like, I guess I realized that I was over it, once I was finally, like, his favorite color was yellow on me, and, like, I would always look for yellow, and I'd be like, oh my God, like, I want to get this because he would like it, and this, and, like, I'm still thinking about him. And then eventually, like, I go to the store and I see something yellow, and I'm like, you know what, I don't even want this, I don't even like yellow. And then I'm like, okay, well, I think, like, I'm actually over it. I don't care what he thinks anymore. I don't care what he wants or what he likes about me, so I can go talk to somebody else. So I think it's just a case by case.
By your perspective, as far as preferring to stay single in a lot of ways versus trying to look and date somebody else, does that punish other people that you may be talking to, new to your life, who are otherwise innocent, for another man's actions that's no longer a part of your life? And you two guys, you could speak on this too.
I would say that no, because, like, that's like a good bar. It's like, I mean, that sounds totally healthy. It's like, if you'd rather be by yourself than, like, if you'd rather be by yourself than hang out with me, then yeah.
I'm doing
by
us both a
yourself.
favor,
Yeah,
right? You don't want to
exactly.
waste your time
Right.
either.
Yeah, so that works out, and that's like the same thing. It's like if there's someone, it's even like the same thing with friends. It's like if I'd rather be by myself than hang out with this person, then yeah, that's how it's gonna be.
Because it's no secret now. We can kind of look around. People are getting married at record lows. People are having kids at record lows. So is this a trend that could actually be disruptive for societies and communities going forward?
Absolutely.
Because there's a lot of people like you now who, for better or for worse, are staying single, and intentionally doing so. So that when we see a suburban community like Longmont, which is very much family oriented, there's a lot of people who have kids here. Do communities like this end up surviving 2, 3, 4 generations down the line with these trends?
I mean, I think so, man. Like, it just depends on people, because honestly, like, if you're not ready to be in a relationship, then just don't be in a relationship until you meet somebody, like, because the way I see it, like, when you meet somebody new, it just comes unexpected, bro. Like, even if you're not ready to meet somebody just yet, or you're like, oh, dang, it's been a while, I need to put myself out there. It's like, if you're not ready, then don't do it. Like you were saying, like, why should we have to punish somebody else for another man's actions? You know what I'm saying? Because some girls, like you meet them and then they're like, they just act different towards you, or like they think you're gonna do something to them just because of what somebody else did, you know? And like, I mean, like, I don't think like it should be like that. Like, if you're not ready, then just don't put yourself out there until you meet somebody unexpected, like Home Depot or something. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with that.
You
Like,
know?
when it comes unexpected, like, I think you see it from a different perspective and you're not worried about, like, oh, they're going to hurt me, or, oh, like, they're not going to love me the way he did, or I'm not going to love him the way he did. Like, that kind of anxiety, I feel like, when you're like, oh, like, I kind of like you.
Yeah.
You're like, you don't have to worry about it
'Cause
as
when
much.
it's something unexpected, like, you don't know that person, they don't know you, like, you sort of get like intrigued, you know? Like, you're not like thinking about all that stuff, you're thinking about like getting to know them more. So it's like, I don't know, man, it's kind of like a, I don't know.
Can you truly? I guess the way I see it is that I'm not sure if it's necessarily possible that you can truly just meet somebody at random, because in a lot of ways people care about their physical appearance, how does it they talk to somebody, like, for lack of a better term, call it game whenever you're speaking to somebody, because you want to appear to have confidence and swagger and things like this. So is that even necessarily a possibility?
I mean, with my girl that I met now, it was unexpected.
How'd you meet your current girlfriend?
I started working at Carl's Jr. because I was doing hardwood flooring, right? And then something happened, and then I couldn't, move from job site to job site, so I had to find a job that was close to where I lived, right? And I was only there for like a month, bro. But then, like, I saw her there, and like, I just started talking to her, bro. Like, not even like spitting game or none of that, bro. I was like, she's kind of cute, you know? And then, like, we just started chilling after work, like in the gym, and then from there, like, hey, you want to go eat or something? And it just kind of like a snowball effect. It just took off from there, and it was unexpected, bro. Like, I was only there for like a month, bro. So it's weird how things play out. Like if I never would have applied there or like got a job there for 1 month, bro, and I met her, bro, and I took her from there. She don't even work there no more. And then it's like, it's just kind of weird, bro. It's just how weird, like, how things play out.
So how about you two? Have y'all met previous partners in otherwise unexpected ways?
Well, I've met him in unexpected ways, but I would say, like you were saying, it's random. Random, sure, but it's like random, unexpected, but it's also, when I met my ex, I met her at a bar, but I was also cruising bars at the time, and that's what I was doing.
Right.
Now I don't drink, and then I go to like city council meetings, and I go and I'm involved in the community a whole bunch. And then I met my current girlfriend at an event at a church that helped the community. Like, so, and she picked me up there. Like, was I expecting it? Absolutely not. But was that like, it was totally different type of person because of where I'm at. And it had nothing to do with what I like. It had, it was random, but it was also because I was doing what I'm passionate about now, and it shows a lot more in the relationship now versus the relationship then too.
Something that I've always seen with dating that could be kind of a trouble point is controversial opinions. What would all of you say are, according to your friends and your close family, are some of your most controversial or unpopular opinions?
Abortion?
Ooh, that, you want to get into that can of worms?
I mean, sure. I'm just saying, like, my parents are Catholic.
Mhm.
They believe that you go to hell. You're a heathen if you do that. And I disagree. I think it's a woman's right to choose. I mean, I don't think it has really anything to do with religion. I mean, it does have something to do with your faith, like depending on how you perceive God and what that means to you, if it means anything to you. But in terms of like making it like these laws and banning it, but while the FDA is trying to, make it possible to get the pill over the counter, it's just very conflicting opinions and based on religion. And that just frustrates me because, separation of, church and state just seems to be a guideline instead of an actual law.
Well, is it necessarily a woman's right, or should it be a decision that's made between both potential parents in this situation?
It depends. I mean, it depends on the relationship. It depends if, you care what he thinks. I think it really is like if you are together and you care about each other, like it's something that you should talk about. But if it's like kind of this one-off and, like you don't really know him, I personally think that, just let them know what your choice is and be like, this is what it is. Like, I feel like a lot of women, they try to get pregnant.
Yes.
Someone famous comes into town, they're like, oh, I'm going to have his baby and then I can get his money. And he doesn't have any say. Like, she's going to have the baby. So I just feel like it's only fair to for her to be like, I don't want this baby. And for him to be like, okay, It's not his body. He shouldn't have a choice. And at the end of the day, if it comes to like his versus hers, in my opinion, as a woman, I think it's up to the female.
Well, what if you have a situation of the man wants to step up and be a father, but the woman does not?
Oh, that's tough. That's a tough question. Right? Did he mean to get me pregnant, or was it an accident? Because did he want me to have his baby,
is it 100% his responsibility though, for the birth control?
No, I don't think so.
Nah, it's
So-
a 50-50 thing.
So then how could it be 100% your decision as a woman?
Because I'll 100% pay for it. I'll 100% make it happen. I don't need him to do anything.
Well, here's the reverse question. So let's say that you have sex with a woman and then you get an STD from it, and then the STD is potentially fatal, and you want to do a certain type of medical treatment, and the woman says no. Should she have the right to say no?
No, but I think we're comparing very different situations because of what outcomes it may be. In that situation, the worst case scenario is that I could die. But now we are talking about, for lack of a better term, I know people want to debate fetus, placenta, unborn child, a potential life that has a possibility of ending.
Right, but the issue is that no matter how you look at it, a woman carrying a baby to term is life-threatening for the woman, no matter what. And especially in our country right now, like our healthcare compared to like Britain or comparably wealthy nations, we're way low, and our death rates are way higher for women, like in those situations. So women are putting their health way high at risk when they put their bodies to term. So when a guy says, I want you to have the baby, he's essentially saying at the same time, I want you as a woman to put your life at risk. So
same with the STD.
So,
okay, I see that.
Yeah, so this is where I'm saying the STD part where she's having influence on you risking your life. It's the same. This is where the parallel is that there's a chance, and it be the same percentage chance of you maybe not dying, but that's really the issue, is because now the woman's not having say over what happens to her, and not just and even let's say she doesn't die, it's still going to do something, her body changes after it, and it's a long process, and any number of things could happen. So that is the complicated issue. Yeah, there is a there could be another life at the end of it, but this is the start.
Well, shouldn't it be an inevitable consideration in any sort of sexual activity that this could be a consequence of these actions, and there could be potential steps that are taken to avoid that. And this is not even necessarily looking down at a man trying to intentionally get a woman pregnant. First of all, I've never heard of that necessarily happening, but there's mistakes like a condom breaking or something like this. So how do you factor in a personal responsibility, and how do you draw the line on whether or not you are saved from your choices or not?
For me, whenever the personal responsibility comes into it, that's when I'm always like, I fully slam on the brakes, because one, I try and always have compassion for whoever's in the argument, because yeah, a million things could happen. The condom could break, the birth control can fail. I know so many women on different types of, who take birth control regularly, and they can forget one pill, and then that's
that's
a
so
game
crazy.
over.
That's crazy.
And and like I said, it can happens all the time, all the time, and you can do everything right, or you could intentionally do everything wrong, or you could. There are guys who've gotten vasectomies and gotten women pregnant because they don't understand what is required to fully that it takes 6 months after vasectomy until you're actually sterile. So
and that's too long. 6 months.
Yeah. So
I feel you.
yeah. So there's so much that goes into it and can go wrong. So, and people just aren't perfect. There's not going to be that day won't come. It's not going to happen, and sex is just too appealing.
Well, I'm a poke a couple holes in that.
Yeah.
Argument. So first of all, from the female side, the birth control pill has some of the lowest rates as far as actually being protected, because like you said, missing one pill can result in a pregnancy. One of my good friends became a father because of that. But what about other choices like the Nexplanon and the copper IUDs, or what's the other one, the Mirena? I think that's how it's called, which is like a hormonal IUD. What's your guys' take on this?
I personally refuse to take any kind of birth control. It's bad for your body. It's bad for your health. I think that if the roles were reversed and men got pregnant, there would be laws passed, and there would be medicine for them to ensure that they wouldn't get pregnant. So as a woman, I refuse to do anything that you wouldn't make a man do in terms of medication. So he should wear a condom.
Well,
you should get a vasectomy.
Don't you also think that on the men's side, if there is a pregnancy, then they are likely going to either be forced to become a father in a situation that they probably didn't want to, or if the two individuals in that setting are not compatible with each other, then he's going to be paying child support for 18 plus years.
If she makes him. There are some women who just choose not to have him in their life at all, and they don't want his money.
Well, so the point I'm trying to get to is that you're not on birth control.
Yeah.
So therefore, you're putting 100% responsibility on the man to handle his business. So if it's 100% his responsibility, shouldn't it be his choice because he's the one who is taking action?
I'm pretty upfront about it. Like, if I'm gonna have sex with somebody, I let them know that I'm not on birth control, and that if they want to have sex with me and they don't want a baby, then yeah, put on the condom. It's not that big of a deal.
So what if it was to fail?
Well, gosh, if I was to get pregnant because it failed, I think I'm honestly at a point in my life where I would choose to have the baby, just because, I'm getting kind of older, and maybe I'll never find somebody who wants to actually have a baby with me. But saying that, I would never be like, okay, you're the man, you got me pregnant, so I'm gonna need you to pay. And maybe that's a little reckless, and just being like I don't want your support, economically, to help me raise this child. you know, that hyper independence that might hurt the child. But I guess just me personally, I would have the baby just because I want to have the baby. And then with the guy, it's like, do you want to be a dad? If you don't want to be a dad, that's fine. Like, I'll see you later. But if you do want to be a dad, we could work something out. Or maybe we fall in love and then we wind up together and then we have a kid. I don't know. I'd really just kind of play it by ear. But to answer your question, yeah, if I got pregnant, I would probably have the kid.
So we'll keep moving forward. Israel, what's your controversial? What's some of your controversial opinions your family would say that you have?
That I have? Honestly, bro, I don't really have much. My mom, she's pretty cool about things, and you know, it's not like she's gonna. I live my life how I want to live my life. You know, I'm not gonna.
I feel like that could breed some controversy if you're not listening to anybody's opinions or advice on how it is that you should live.
I mean, yeah, like obviously people are gonna have opinions about you know, how you live your life or how you do things, but you know what?
So then that's why I asked, what would your family say? Or so your controversial opinions?
Honestly, bro, I can't.
Don't act different now.
I'm
Come
not
on.
trying to.
At least one.
Probably something that like she looked down upon, like with me, was probably my drinking habits, bro. And I don't know if that's like something like controversy, but like, you know, that goes into like, I don't care what people say about me.
No, so in this particular saying, it's Thanksgiving dinner. You're at the table with your family. What's going to be the one thing that just becomes a hot box for discussion whenever it comes to how you think about things?
I never really thought about that. Honestly, I'm not sure, dude.
Not sure?
I'm really not sure.
No?
Cause I mean, I don't really have.
Yeah.
What's the controversial opinion that you have, though?
Carter, I got one.
Yeah, you got one?
I'll give you some time to think,
Yeah.
Israel. But yeah, so I'll tell you the one issue that's always comes up for me with everyone, family, friends, whoever, is prison abolition. And as soon as I say it, everyone gets defensive because they're like, as soon as people hear prison abolition, their first thoughts are like, what does that mean? You're going to get rid of prisons? How is that going to work? What are you going to do with murderers? What? That's why I never say prison abolition. I never say those words because no one knows what it actually means. Prison abolition means that you need to, we need to replace prisons with something that actually works. Because I've been to prison and I've also been to treatment. And the difference between in both prison and treatment, you're confined in a place. You're pulled out of society and you're put in a place away from everybody else. You don't get cell phones, you don't get access to the outside, and then you're put aside. And then you're surrounded by staff that knows exactly what you're doing at all times, and they've got an eye on you at all times. The difference is that the staff at a treatment facility is trying to get you healthy and back out in the world. The staff at a prison is trying to keep you inside at all costs.
So this is in reference to drug and alcohol related convictions.
Right. Well, I'm talking about this. You can go to a treatment, if you want to go to a treatment facility, you could say, I want to go right now. There's one in Denver. One of the best ones in the country is in Denver, on the Anschutz campus at Cedar. And that, you can go, you go in voluntarily and you can be a part of it. But there are ones where
is this covered by regular medical insurance?
Some medical insurances cover it,
Mm-hmm.
so it depends. But there's usually some out-of-pocket expense that goes along with it, and this, like the one in Denver, is going to be expensive. But I will tell you this: when you come out of there, I don't care who you are, I don't care what issues you end up having, because you're surrounded by a staff that's trying to help you, you're going to come out better than when you came in. When you come out of prison, the recidivism rate is 70%. And the best part is not everyone who went in there committed the crime that they were in there for. So more people are committing crime that went in coming out. So you created a place that creates criminals. Probably because you created this box where you just stick everyone in there. You don't care what happens. You don't put, like, you're not trying to put programs for rehabilitation in there. And then you're just hoping for the best. And you basically isolated them from all of society, and that's it. Whereas in a treatment program, you're actually trying to help these people, and you're trying to get them out back in the world. Like, maybe not as fast as you can, but in a healthy way.
Well, to take difficult situations, a common example of why someone may go to prison involving a drug or alcohol case would be third-degree murder / manslaughter during an accident with a DWI.
Mm-hmm.
And if anyone has ever been around an addict or someone who has a problem with drugs or alcohol, it becomes progressively worse over time for most individuals. They don't go from being absolutely sober to having an entire bottle of whiskey within one day. That takes time to happen. So if they have family and friends and their social networks around them who maybe have tried to push them to get help previously, but then their habit comes at a cost with a bad decision and taking somebody's life or severely injuring someone, shouldn't that be a case where maybe they deserve a sort of punishment or time away from society for them to actually seriously consider their actions, where they do not have the freedoms that they once did?
The addiction doesn't suddenly become a punishment issue because the consequences are more severe. We don't, like, when someone gets, like, when we catch the cancer late, we don't immediately send them to prison. The disease doesn't change. The whole point of addiction is that it's a disease of making decisions. They are addicted. The problem is that they have taught themselves, they have trained themselves to make poor choices. I had trained myself to make poor choices, and you have to, just like that, you have to train yourself out of it. And it's a lifelong thing that has to come with it. And a lot of people, what has to happen first is a severe consequence. And it really stinks that that's how it works. But it doesn't make it any less of a health issue. Now, does that mean that we shouldn't be, like, looking out for the victims that get hurt by this? We absolutely should. And I don't think harsh prison sentences help the victims. It's just, that's all we offer them right now.
Well, we could consider the alternative, which is I had some people within my social circle in high school who were not only under 21 but under 18 and drank at a party, which there's an absolutely zero tolerance policy if you're under the age of 21 in the United States. They got in their vehicle, which was a large truck, and they killed a family of 4 at a late in the night on a Sunday morning. For the families that might be grieving their loss, I would feel like that they would want prison time for the person who committed that crime, because they've had someone taken away from that, and they're not going to have so much empathy for someone who is struggling with an addiction. They see the actions and they see the end results, and they want someone to answer for that.
I totally agree with the last part. They want someone to answer for it. They want someone to recognize what they just went through, all the harm they caused, to recognize how hurt and how devastated the family is, to understand everything they went through. If you send them to prison, I guarantee you they will not know that. If you actually work with them, if you work like in a restorative justice capacity and try and work together with them, they have a chance to you can actually get them to know that. But they have to, if they go to prison still actively addict, they're not going to understand anything. But if you go to treatment, they'll actually get to heal and might get to a place where they understand all the harm they caused and won't do it again.
Could you have a system that does both, though?
You can't have a system that punishes and rehabilitates at the same time. It won't work.
Whenever I hear that and I see the experiences that I have, I feel like it takes responsibility off that individual. And my concern of that would be, how do we prevent people who are truly evil from taking advantage of a very lenient justice system? Because you can take an individual, obviously they're rare, but take an individual whose only goal is to spread mass chaos and destruction in any way, shape, or form. So what are they going to do? Because they know the legal system, they're going to get drunk but they already have this plan in mind anyways, and they're just gonna go run to 5 cars down Interstate 25, and then they have the cop out excuse of, well, I was actually drinking and I blew at .1 or .2.
Now we're getting into philosophy, but then we could spend all night arguing this. But the point, this gets into, are people evil or are they manipulative, and do they need help?
I don't think anybody's like purely evil, in my opinion. You know, I just don't agree with that.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's some people out there, man, that all they want to do is spread hate.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And I think that those people are the ones that are suffering the most,
Well, some
or the
people-
ones
some
that want to
people
make
even draw
others
lines on
suffer.
Political parties with that.
They draw up. There's fear. There's all sorts of fear and hate that are drawn up for all sorts of uses. And like I said, they can manipulate. There's plenty of reasons for that. My buddy Dave, who was on the podcast with me, like, he talks about how he used to, like, nonstop. He would be out on the streets nonstop, selling, working constantly to make money because he thought it was the only way to do it. That's what he needed to do. He would undercut people, make sure it got, he was the first one there and got the money, his money.
So he was a dealer?
He was a dealer, yeah. And so he got what he needed. Like, he went back to prison time after time after time for this. And like, my buddy and I, like, we went to prison once, we're like, yeah, we're done. We don't need this, like, we don't want to have to do this. And he kept on coming back. And so, but the thing is like, he didn't understand. And it took a while for him to like find a different way. Like, he finally realizes now he can work 2 jobs and do less work than he was doing dealing drugs.
So you're advocating for more of a rehab perspective of trying to change their perspectives.
Right.
So when it comes to prison, of course we've all seen now, Donald Trump's mugshot is officially out there, and there's a sample that's going around that says 8 out of every 10 Republican voters will still vote for Donald Trump in 2024, regardless of whether or not he is found innocent or guilty for his crimes. What's y'all's take on this?
So my take is this, is that if I was accused, let's just say I was accused of what he's been indicted for, then I would be public enemy number 1. Let alone, no one's voting for me. I would just be public enemy number 1. I wouldn't be able to go out in public. I'd have to go to jail to get out of like the spotlight and be safe. Like that's what I'd have to do. And I'm a white male in the middle class. Let alone anyone else in this room. Like, it could be way worse. So the idea that that's okay, it doesn't surprise me, because this is the party that has shown that it will do whatever it wants and get away with it, just like they did with the Supreme Court justices, and when they had.
Yeah, I see you smiling over there.
When we had a quote unquote lame duck Democratic candidate, we don't even want to talk about the Supreme Court justice. We have a lame duck Republican candidate. We need to rush in, get this candidate in as soon as possible. So, I'm not surprised.
Bridget,
Yeah.
what's your take? I see you got something on your mind.
Yeah, oh, for sure. I agree with, I'm sorry. Ryan. I'm so sorry. I agree with Ryan. I think it makes a lot of sense that 8 out of 10 Republicans would vote for Trump in 2024. He's got a really strong fan base. And also, the Republican Party, they're really diehard for their constituents, and I think they don't want to ruin their own reputation. I think, yeah, Trump is like the ugly stepchild that they didn't want, but they're not about to go say that to the world and be like, oh, this Republican, we don't want him. They're going to be like, oh, he's a Republican, so we support him because we're Republican too.
Well, is it about saving a reputation or taking a stand against certain political ideas? Because there's a lot of Republicans that feel that this is an attack against someone who is not a part of deep state or career politicians or lobbyist money. A lot of Republicans and their voters feel that this is a very corrupt system, and this is just a perfect example of a witch hunt or a banana court.
Yeah, I don't know. Those people, I think, are, maybe in an alternate reality, if I can be so bold.
I feel about this, Israel.
I mean, I just think it's crazy, bro, how they're coming after him as the election is coming up, you know? And,
Exactly.
So
This feels like very convenient timing.
and
Oh, yeah, they
just like you
saved
said,
it.
It's just like a witch hunt. Like, it just shows how corrupt the system is because they know he's gonna win. Like, if he runs again, and you said 8 out of 10 are gonna vote for him, like, I feel there's a strong chance he's gonna win again.
Mhm.
And they don't wanna see him win. Why? Because honestly, like, I'll vote for Trump too. And that's just me. Like, that's a strong leader right there. He's a goddamn good American.
Mhm.
And it just goes to show like how corrupt the system is. Like, I was watching a video the other day and they asked Joe Biden like, what do you think about Trump running again? Do you think he's gonna win? And then he just laughs and he said, "Oh, we're gonna make sure that doesn't happen." Like,
Mhm.
like, what do you mean by that? Like, it's just crazy.
So you're leaning towards the side that they're trying to suppress him from being able to campaign to
Yeah,
vote.
yeah, I think that's what they're doing because like all his followers and stuff, like they're all loyal, like they're waiting for him to run again because they're gonna go out and vote, and like even over the years as like when Joe Biden came into presidency, everybody like saw how things were going downhill, like with how he's running and like like Sleepy Joe and all this stuff, like they were showing like
Fumbling over his words.
yeah, fumbling over his words, like this is
Overstairs.
yeah, like this is our president, like compared to Trump, like
Mhm.
I mean, it just goes to show how corrupt the system is, man.
So do you feel he's actually guilty for the crimes he's being indicted for, or do they even not necessarily matter in your perspective?
I don't think they really matter, man.
Mhm.
I don't think they really matter.
And to his credit, when it comes to Joe Biden, there have been several moments where he has either slipped on answering interview questions, or he has kind of flubbed words, and a lot of people feel like he's not the strong leader that the country needs. So what are we supposed to do in a situation where that I feel like there's people on both sides of the coin that are not necessarily happy with his current situation when it comes to the presidential nominations.
I'm not. I didn't. When the last election, we had a bunch of really great candidates on the Democrat ticket, and Joe Biden was not one of them. And he was the last person I would have voted for. The only thing he ran on was I can beat Trump, which is not. That's nothing. That's not a feature of a campaign. That's not a value. That doesn't tell me anything about what you value, who you are, what you do. That's nothing. There were people who were running on having universal wages, like setting so that people could have forgiving college debt, having free colleges, having all sorts of things that Biden is trying to do now, that it's like at the last minute as re-election's coming up. It's not great. I'm not going to say anything great about Biden. I will, but and I'm not, and I don't want to. No one should ever vote for the lesser of two evils. They should vote because they actually believe in the candidate. It's just hard to find halfway decent candidates. Trump is, if you are concerned about how he speaks, Biden can put together sentences. If you actually if you read a transcript of what Trump says, what he has is not sentences. He is a great, emotional, passionate speaker. If you try and read the transcript of what he says, they are not even complete thoughts. He will jump from one thing to another. He is way out there, and that's probably one of the least things I can say on that one. But anyway, my point is, I don't think most of the followers want him because they even necessarily believe in what Trump believes. I don't think Trump even necessarily likes his followers. What I do think is that his followers want certain things, and Trump will give it to them. They want Republican justices. They want to get rid of immigrants. They want lower taxes, especially for the wealthy. They want all of those things. Trump will deliver those. He will give those, and he will also make a giant dumpster fire in the White House, which people love to watch. And yeah, I feel like that's his ticket.
Well, so you mentioned your distaste for Trump and your distaste for Joe.
Yeah.
Is this a call to vote for an independent party or someone who is not the DNC's nominee?
I would vote. I don't care whether it's an independent party or any other. There have been actually decent candidates on either side of the aisle. When Trump was running, there was actually someone who was running alongside of him. That was an amazing candidate. He had tremendous values. All these values the evangelicals talk about all the time, he had them. He was running in part because he wanted to be the person that his 16-year-old daughter could look up to, and he was trying to demonstrate that in the campaign.
Who was this individual?
This was John Kasich.
John Kasich.
And I only know that because I heard him, of the 2 minutes they let him speak, whereas all I heard was Trump, Hillary, Trump, Hillary, Trump, Hillary, and then occasionally Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz and Bernie Sanders. But Trump, Hillary, and that's all you would hear. And you don't hear other people, so you don't get to know them.
Do you think the mass media has played that game on purpose, though, because it gets them viewership and also it puts dollars in their pocket?
I totally agree. Yeah, I think it's dollars in their pocket, but it's also it works. It gets eyes on it. And it also plays a great narrative. It's just like I said, I talk about criminal justice all the time, and cop shows are all the same. They all tell the same stories. Law and Order's been running for however many decades now, and it's the same thing over and over again. It tells the same story, and I'll tell you right now, if you get stuck in court, it doesn't happen at all like that. They made it up, and it doesn't work like that. It's the same, but repetition of the same thing works.
So, Bridget, you explained how does that you feel about, particularly with the voters with Trump. How do you kind of toe this line between either the idea of lesser of two evils, or do you not even necessarily see it that way?
Oh, I have to say the lesser of two evils is not a great voting strategy in my opinion. But for example, in terms of Trump and Hillary, I mean, yeah, the media focused on them because really you're not going to find a lot of Americans that vote for other parties just because there's not a lot of coverage and they don't really know those candidates as well because they're not in the media. So I guess it's really, as an American citizen, it's your responsibility to do your research and kind of find the candidate that aligns with your values, not necessarily with your political affiliation. As I tend to go liberal, but there are Republican candidates that I would vote for. I'm trying to think of one. It really just depends on their platform, their policies, what it is that I can understand Trump supporters. He has a strong stance on foreign policy. He believes that we should stop bleeding our money out to other countries. I can say that I kind of agree with that. I feel like we should keep our money in our country because our country is going to shit. And I also feel like it's not really any of our business to meddle in foreign in foreign issues. I mean, I understand that we were a superpower in World War II and things like that, and we want to maintain that status. But I think as we evolve, our policies have to evolve too. So I can understand a lot of the reasons why Trump has the supporters that he has, and there are a lot of policies that he speaks on and that he follows through on, which I can understand, like, why you would be like, yeah, I'm going to vote for him because he says what he's going to say, or he does what he says he's going to do. And
When it comes to our current president, in the White House, do you feel Joe Biden and his VP Kamala Harris are actually doing a good job?
I don't think they were the best Democratic candidates for the presidency and vice presidency by any means. I think that they were the most viable option because he was Obama's VP, so people knew Biden and knew kind of like what he stood for, and they were like, well, that's the only way to get back to the way America was if we, choose Biden. And then he got into the White House, and he's pretty soft on his policies, and he comes through kind of last minute, and just trying to patch up his reputation just before the election. And I just think he might, he tried, but I think he's just past his prime. I think he's past what we need in a strong leader, and Trump is a strong leader. I just don't know if he's the strong leader that America needs.
Is it a case that we do need him, though, in order to retain our status as a world power? Because I feel like there's a lot of people that are frustrated with how Joe Biden is spending so much money.
No, we're definitely bleeding a lot of money out with that. But yeah, go ahead.
I would say, I don't know about strong leader. I would say that I think the whole point, honestly, when Trump got elected, I told my buddy, I was like, because he was panicking. I was like, look, you're going to be surprised. The president doesn't have that much power. He's not going to have that much influence. And I was wrong. I was very wrong. He had way more power than he should have. And presidents were not like really in the Constitution and everything, they're not supposed to have a ton of power. Like, that's Congress. Congress is supposed to have a whole bunch of powers. They're the lawmakers. So but the president is supposed to be representative. Like, he's supposed to represent the people and be like, and also be our representative abroad and working with other nations and things like that. And that is absolutely not what Trump is. And Trump, Trump wants to be a strong leader. Trump wants to be the only leader. Like, from everything that the idea of questioning the election, and like to the point of like having a riot at Congress's footsteps. Like I said, you can nitpick how much of like how directed it was. He didn't flat out say, come here at this time and we're going to riot and we're going to storm the Capitol. He did not say those exact words, but he, like, to the fact of, come, it's going to be big. You need to, like, basically says, like, you need to hang my vice president because he's not doing what I said to do.
Is it fair to assess him, though, based upon his voters?
It's not about his voters. Those are his actions. These are all expressions of him. Like, they were all reacting to him. And so the fact that all the things that he's saying, I want to do this, they won't let me do this, they won't let me do that. Like, part of it is like he's acting like he's picked on, but the goal is, I want more power. I need more power. And the people who have more power were fascists, and they were dictators, and they are monarchs. And I don't think people want that. I think there are certain people who want that because it's comforting, because then they don't have to make decisions. And if you want to live in a country that doesn't make decisions, then yeah, Trump's your guy, because he's happy to make whatever decisions for you, but then you have to live with the consequences. And I would personally not want that.
I get you. Israel, any last comments?
No, but I'll be voting for Trump this upcoming election.
You'll be voting for Trump? Interesting. Thank you guys for coming on. That'll conclude this episode of the Don't Act Different Now podcast. We got new episodes coming out every single week. Check out King Penny Supplement Company, and thank you so much.